Good morning, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church on this beautiful Sunday morning. That's great. I didn't think that Mother Nature would steal the theme for our pledge drive, make it count, inch by inch by inch by... Well, today is Celebration Sunday, a very important event in our liturgical year, when we celebrate our church as a community that brings meaning into our lives. Here we turn to one another for comfort when weary of life's trials. We turn to one another in song and joy in moments when we feel the grace of love's infinite possibilities. And here we extend a hand to one another when visions of justice command action. We unite at this hour in gratitude for our community of affection. This church makes it count. It makes dreams count and common worship of all that is sacred and beautiful. This church makes inquiring minds count and hearts that will change the world. And this church makes service to others count and the light of truth. As individuals, pondering the many gifts we receive from this church community, we're also asked on Celebration Sunday to be generous in our financial giving to this church community to really make our contributions count. We offer no guidelines as to a percent of our largesse. We prepare no special guilt, nor reserve a place in hell for meager donations. We simply ask, will you make it count? Please, make it count. Make a difference in strengthening this church community so we can continue to bring meaning into our lives and the lives of others now and for many generations to come.
The flaming chalice has been the symbol of the spirit of Unitarian Universalism since the days of World War II, when Austrian artist Hans Deutsch designed it as a symbol to help Unitarians assisting European Jews to flee to the United States. It stood for religious freedom, for courage, and for hope. And so it does today. Wherever Unitarian Universalists are gathered together, wherever our flame is lit, we understand that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. Yet we are rooted in the connections we build together in the local congregation. The chalice, the light that unites us in common values and shared heritage, that inspires us to common purpose and shared dreams, burns here today as we rededicate ourselves to one another and to our community, and as we commit to make it count on Celebration Sunday. And now, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit, and let's sing together. Number 347.
Stars
In 1927, this chapel was built to provide a house for progressive people, for them to assemble here in Salt Lake City, to come together as a family with their hopes and dreams. This place was meant as a shelter for the expression of religious freedom, where people could think freely without doctrinal constraint, where people could speak freely of their hopes for an equitable world, where people could act freely to pursue justice. This church is a home. It is a home for love, a home for all of us to dwell in unity, to rest and be healed, to comfort one another, and to support each other should cynicism ever get the better of our spirits. May we take a moment now to unite our minds and our hearts in the spirit of prayer and reflection. O creative spirit of life, in which we live and move and have our being, we give thanks for this house in which we gather with caring friends, where the spirit of compassion moves us beyond ourselves to embrace a world that suffers so many burdens. It is our charge to take care of this house, to keep it from harm. It is our task to preserve this house for generations to come, who will be fed here and nourished and find the strength here to always keep before them the commandment to care. This house has always discerned the sign of the times. It has strengthened its community to rise up and meet the challenges of an unquiet world, an unjust world, a world that hungers for its wounds to be healed by love. This is the hope for us all. May we take good care of this wonderful, precious house. Amen. Well, thank you, choir, and David Zabriskie, David Owens, for doing justice to Leonard Bernstein's 100th, it's the centennial anniversary of Leonard Bernstein's birth, and you did a great job. Thank you. You would have been proud. We are delighted to have Lily Eskelsen Garcia as our guest speaker this morning. She agreed so graciously to come to Salt Lake City after Betsy DeVos declined our initial invitation to her. Turned out that Ms. DeVos had to cancel because of her new assignment of arming teachers. It was taking so much of her time. It seems that not all teachers were willing to pack heat in the classroom. Apparently, that's not why they chose to become educators. These teachers, I don't know, they're so old-fashioned, you know, they can't get with the program. But Secretary DeVos has also been assigned to a very special task force to dissuade the president from running into schools to take a hit for the students from any armed intruders. Frankly, I didn't think it was such a bad idea if he would have done that. And so we have Lily this morning. How great is that, huh? Yeah. Lily is president of the National Education Association, NEA, the nation's largest labor union. Most importantly, Lily Eskelsen Garcia is the fabulous voice for public education. We are so proud of her because we will always in this church view her as one of our own. Lily and Rule were fixtures in this church when I was called to be the ministry here back in the 1980s. Lily and Rule were such gifted folk singers who not only entertained us, but could make us laugh. And they led us in protest songs and fired up our passion for social justice. We were proud of Lily when she won the honor as Utah's Teacher of the Year. We were proud of Lily when she became president of UEA through a write-in campaign. Maybe we could try that again for 2020. We were proud of Lily when she ran for Congress, winning 47% of the vote as a Democrat. We were proud of Lily when she packed her bags to move to Washington, D.C. to work with the NEA. We are proud of Lily because she always makes it count, always, big time. So Lily, welcome back to your church. Thanks for being here with us this morning.
I am so impressed with myself. Wow. Fabulous. 38 years ago, Roel and I walked through those doors because we heard that this would be a place we might be interested in. He was raised Mormon. I was raised Catholic. We thought we could split the difference, and and here we ended up, and the music was playing. And it was so incredible. We had to come back, and again, and again, and again. We joined the choir. Our little boys were blessed in this church. Hi, little boys. Wave your hands. Yes, little boys. Yes. My sister Dee Dee was married by Dick Henry, if you remember Dick Henry. My son Jeremy and his husband Mike were married here with this was full of Mormons and Catholics going, I'm at a gay wedding. You know what? But they loved these boys. They loved these young men. And so they came, and I think were enriched by that. Roel's funeral was held in this church. And so this church is and will always be my spiritual home. They have cared for my family. And I don't care if I recognize people sitting in the pews or not. You're my family as well. And I will write a check. I will give my heart and soul, and I hope you will too. You will find that as the years go by, this church becomes more and more important to you. Jeremy was 3 years old when we first joined the church. Today, Jeremy is 41, and I'm 39. So we don't do math at my house, and that's okay. We're all getting a little older. I have a retired teacher friend who said, it seems like you get grumpier when you get older, but you don't. You just get more like yourself. So I am going to blame my age then, that I'm getting a lot more like myself because I've been in a bad mood for like a year now. And I'm a sixth grade teacher. I'm a troublemaker. That's how we come. And we get in a bad mood when we see something that's stupid or unfair. And we want to fix it. Whether that's something with our kids, it's stupid and unfair. You're supposed to do something about it. And so I thought it was stupid and unfair in 1980 that I had 39 students in my class at Orchard Elementary. And we wanted to do something about it. And I went, well, let's join the UEA and let's go do something about it. I remember Governor Bangerter, who told us to settle down and take 2 aspirin and we'd feel better in the morning. And we did feel better in the morning because we took to the streets and we made our voices heard loud and clear. 10,000 of us in Liberty Park one September 25th, because it was your birthday and you thought it was a big birthday party for you. I remember that. And we were there with parents holding signs saying, we support our teachers. We had teachers from Rowland Hall who were there with signs supporting us. We were never alone. People showed up. And we have had good years and we have had many, many bad years. But we know that we're supposed to make some noise. We're supposed to speak truth to power. And we have won over the years. We won some class size reduction funding or technology funding or school construction funding. And this year, we are determined to finally win full funding for Prozac salt licks in every faculty room because we need them. So you take 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward. It's not a linear line to the educational promised land. But I know, especially being a Utah teacher, that you don't always win. But I know you can always deserve to win. And that's true with our whole country. It's true with us as people in this society throughout the nation's history. We have found ways to defy those who sit in authority, who sit in places of power, and say, I make the rules. We're in charge. This is the way it is. Deal with it. And time again, communities that care about justice will come together, and they will deal with it. They will change what needs to be changed. I have found the best way to change something is to have a little power. I understand the importance of power. I'm a teacher. No teacher on rainy day recess duty wants less power. You want as much power as you can possibly muster. And if you want to resist something on a grand scale with powerful politicians and oligarchs, you better have more than a good heart. You better have a pocket full of power. And that word has a bad rap. I get to do interviews with people and the noble opposition at times when they can't have a good argument against what you're asking for your students and for public schools. They always say something, don't listen to the NEA, don't listen to her. The NEA just wants more power. Well, yeah, thank you. The question is, power to what purpose? Dr. King said, power without love is reckless and abusive. But he said, love without power is sentimental and anemic. I'm greedy. I want both. I want both. I want love and I want power because I know my purpose. My purpose is to open a child's mind to its infinite possibilities. And I will gather all the power I can to make sure that every student can see his or her infinite possibilities. And by the way, I think this is a good time to let you know that I am an incredible teacher. I am truly fabulous. And you would want your sixth grader, no, you would want to be in sixth grade if you could be in my sixth grade, okay? Because my kids are going to sing the Constitution. They're going to debate current events. They're going to organize a blood drive. They're going to write letters to the editor about an opinion they have. I don't even care what the opinion is, as long as they use reason and evidence and good handwriting to write that letter and put, and this is how old I am, they would put it in a thing called an envelope with a stamp on it and address it and put it in a thing called a mailbox, and it would get to a newspaper. Remember news? Remember paper? Good times. You know, I did run for Congress on the platform that I had worked for 20 years with 12-year-olds. There is no better preparation for Congress, and I mean no disrespect to 12-year-olds. You know, and so I could use the power of my incredible, fabulous teaching with my 39 kids and bring them to another level. And yet if I walked outside my classroom, no matter how good I was inside that classroom, I didn't have a lot of power to help the other 800 kids at Orchard Elementary. If I walked outside my school, I didn't have a lot of power, no matter how good I was in my classroom, to do something better for school resources, for dreamers, for affordable college, for health care, for the things that I knew that my school kids and their families and our communities needed. So I see now what you see, that power, political power, is in the hands of fewer and fewer mega wealthy billionaires. NEA did an exhaustive search of our membership database. You will be surprised to learn how few of American teachers are billionaires. Yes, I too was shocked. So, you know, you just scratch that one off your list. I'll get power with all the money. I don't know, that's not going to work. The power that ordinary people have, the only power we have ever had, is the power to unite in a common cause and have a unified, collective voice. And so my power is through uniting with my profession, uniting with my union, uniting with the political party, uniting with my religious community. Billionaires love to talk about the rugged individual. We just need to be better individuals. Why? Because you can take out a rugged individual. You can ignore a rugged individual. They have fear of the collective voice of ordinary people who are focused on something that they believe in. And so they fear the collective voice of ordinary people demanding universal, affordable, comprehensive health care. They fear the collective voice of older people and younger people who hope to become older people someday, that they can retire with some security and some dignity. They fear the collective voice of parents who demand something more, not just for their child, but for every child, that every child in this community has what he or she needs. They fear now the collective voice of high school students in Florida, demanding that they take assault weapons out of the hands of dangerous people, demanding that they no longer will be shot. I have seen the power of communities coming together, parents and teachers and faith communities, the business community. I've actually seen Republicans and Democrats who can come together to save a school, libraries, parks. Resistance is good. But remember, If someone says, here's a bad idea, I'm going to destroy something you love. I'm going to destroy something. And you win. You resist and you win. Then you get to keep what you already had. And what if what you already had isn't enough? What if what you already had isn't as good as it should be? So I believe that every crisis is our opportunity. We organize communities, yes, to resist bad things. You have to do that. You have to have a defense against the dark arts. But while you're doing that, look around you. You have people that say, it's more than what I'm against. It's more than fighting what I hate. I want to lift up what I love. How do I use that community to move forward to something better? We will put our souls into moving forward in a collective purpose. I've tried to live my purpose. I keep telling people, think about what's so important to you that you can put it in a face. And put that face right here in front of you, right in your head, so that when you falter or you wonder if it's important enough, you will see that face. Think about the face of a little baby who gets to go to a well baby checkup. Think about protecting wilderness and seeing the faces of people hiking in pristine environments. A dreamer getting to buy a home because they were able to get a job. Think about a transgender girl who gets to go to the bathroom and nobody thinks it's a big deal. Whatever it is that you believe in, put it in a face and put it in your head. I have a picture of Julio in my head. For some years, when I wasn't teaching at Orchard Elementary, I taught at the Treshow School that was located at the Salt Lake Homeless Shelter. Marilyn Treshow was a teacher and a member of this congregation, and she had this idea, and she got Salt Lake District to put a portable classroom, a trailer, under the 6th South Viaduct, where a lot of families had parked their cars and they were living in their cars. And she would invite the children every day to come in, and she would teach them. She invited Ruel and me to bring our guitars and sing for them, and we sang our hit single, Don't Stick Your Finger Up Your Nose, because your nose knows it's not the place it goes. And we sang it with dignity. And then they moved the shelter school into the Salt Lake Homeless Shelter when they built the shelter, and they named it after Marilyn when she died. Julio was one of my students, 3rd grader, 8 years old, angriest human being I have ever met. He hated his parents for making him live in a shelter. He hated the teachers for making him pretend this was a real school. He hated the other kids. He would slap them as they walked by because they were in his space. And it was a one-room school, so you had the 3rd graders with the kindergartners, and he thought that was an insult. So I had no choice but to make him the teacher. I made him the teacher because my mother is from Panama, and she did not teach her children Spanish, which is another story. When I asked her why, she said, I thought I was protecting you. And then she got mad at me and said, but you could learn. All teachers can learn. I mean, there are classes around here. Don't you blame me. So she's gonna feel guilty for 2 seconds and then turn it on you. So I decided I would take some Spanish classes at the community night school, and because I love my mother and I'm scared of her. And so I am a really, really good teacher. I am a terrible student. And so I was always late with my homework. And at recess duty one day, I'm sitting in the little playground furiously conjugating verbs in Spanish. And I hear Julio scream something across the playground in Spanish. And I get the best teacher idea I've ever had. I said, Julio, ven aquí, te necesito ayudarme. And I really hope that means come over here and help me. Whatever it was, he came over and he said, what? And I said, my mom's going to kill me if I can't get my homework right. If I can't pass this class, you got to help me with my homework. So he was intrigued, and he sat. he sat next to me, and I would repeat something, and he'd go, no, that's not right. And he'd correct me, and he's looking at what I'm writing. No, that's not right. And he kept saying, helpful, encouraging things like, estúpida maestra loca, which he told me means, good job. So the other kids started to come over, and I went, don't bother Julio, he's doing my homework. And they were like, wow, Julio, how do you say this? Julio, how do you say that? And he started teaching them the way he was teaching me. And so I started calling him Maestro. I said, Maestro, recess is over. Get the kids lined up. He got the kids lined up. We go inside. I said, Maestro, I'm going to get the second graders on the computer. Can you read Hop on Pop to the kindergartners? And he took the book, and he read Hop on Pop to the kindergartners. By the end of the week, he didn't even ask if I needed help. He just came in and he said, okay, I'm here. I said, buenos dias, maestro. Can you do the flashcards with Chelsea? And he takes the flashcards and he says, man, she can't do nothing without me. And he does the flashcards with Chelsea. I said, Julio, you are such a good teacher. You need to go to college. Come back here and be a teacher with me here at the school. And he just laughed. And he said, I ain't going to be no teacher. He said, when I go to college, I'm going to be a wrestler with the World Wrestling Federation. When I go to college, I will open my students' minds to their infinite possibilities. I will let nothing and no one diminish who they might be. And what I see around me now is an oppressive regime that would hold down entire communities of people that look just like Julio, who don't believe that all black lives do matter, who don't think that women are worthy of respect. I see that, and I see that I will join whatever community intends to do something about that. In every case of oppression in the history of history, for the elite few to keep their power and privilege in their hands, they have used three tools. Suppress democracy. Make sure that not everyone gets to participate. Suppress wages. Keep people poor and obedient and humble and grateful for any crumb you might throw to them. And above all, suppress education. Because if you are educated, you know how to ask good questions. You know what's right, what's wrong, what's just, what's not just, and you know how to organize. Suppress education to hold people down. And so universal quality education is a threat to oppressors. It is a threat to this administration. Every day brings a new outrage from an administration that is corrupt, that is self-serving, that lives at the dangerous intersection of arrogance and ignorance. And I understand that impulse that some of us have, that it's too big, it's too overwhelming. Let's just hide under the bed until the next election, and then we'll come out and we'll hope for something better. There is no one who is going to save us. There is no one in spandex and a cape that's going to burst in and make this all better. This is up to us. All we have is each other. Fortunately, in the history of history, that is exactly what we need. That is exactly what has won against oppression time and time again. And by the way, I have no doubt in my mind that we will win. Someone said, how do you keep hopeful? Porque la única lucha perdida es la lucha abandonada. Because the only struggle you lose is the struggle you give up. And we will not give up our purpose. That our children, our future, they're counting on us They believe in us. And so we have to believe in ourselves. We will see right here the mission that we're called on to do. My mission as an educator is no different than your mission if you're not an educator. We see a public school as the way we will achieve our purpose. Give me your hungry children, your homeless children, your sick, your abused children. Give me your children who need love as badly as they need learning. Give me your children who have talents and gifts and skills, and give me those that have none. Give them all to me in whatever shape they come, whatever language they speak, whatever color their skin, wherever they find God. Give them all to me. And I will give you the doctors and the lawyers and the carpenters. I'll give you the engineers. I'll give you the teachers and the ministers of tomorrow. I'll give you the mothers and the fathers and the thinkers and the builders and the artists and the dreamers. I will give you the American dream. I will give you the future. That is the future of everything. And it will take the strongest communities all coming together to fight against what we hate, but to lift up what we love. Vamos a ganar. We will win. Claro que sí. Claro que sí. Gracias, mil gracias de mi corazón. Hermanos, hermanas. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Choir, y'all sound amazing every Sunday, but today you are on fire. Seriously, thank you. In preparation for today's worship, Reverend Tom asked me to write a few words about the social justice work that I've been doing since I started here back in July, which brought to my memory a moment during my ministerial internship when my daughter asked me, "So what do ministers actually do all day?" And the only honest answer I could think of was, well, we mostly go to meetings. And if you could see my calendar now, that is what it would look like. Lots and lots and lots of meetings. Meetings at the state capitol, meetings at the Planned Parenthood offices, meetings at other churches and houses of worship, meetings at the governor's mansion, meetings with clergy and activists, meetings around my own dining room table. Meetings with members of this congregation whose minds are focused on justice, mercy, and freedom for all people. The work of justice mostly happens in meetings, when people gather together in goodwill and imagine a better future. I'm proud to say that the meetings are paying off. We have become the first congregation in the state of Utah to host a sanctuary guest. Yeah, that's you. That's you. Yeah. We are the only faith community to have joined the People's Justice Forum, a coalition of justice organizations working together with Planned Parenthood to engage in citizen lobbying at the Utah legislature. We are not just talking about making love real in this world. We are doing it. You are doing it. And when I attend these meetings, what do I bring with me? I bring your voices, your stories, your experiences. And I bring you, actually you. There's no way I could do all of this work by myself. And anyway, we have more fun, we grow better, and we go farther when we work together. That's church in a nutshell. I'm immensely grateful for all of the volunteers who are giving their free time to serve this community and the broader Salt Lake area through our justice initiatives. Together, we are doing far more than just resisting evil in this world. We are building and we are leading a new way forward. Everything that you do counts. Every minute of your time, every prayer and good wish, and every dollar that you pledge makes it possible for us to do this work together. Thank you.
Good morning. David, I don't know. I thought maybe we should be singing "There's No Business Like Snow Business," like no business I know. I don't know where this lady is in the audience, but we were talking before this service in the hallway, and Tom was talking to Lily, and I heard this lady come in and say, "We've got 2 feet of snow in Bountiful." Tom never missed a beat. He said, "That's why it's called Bountiful." Good morning. I'm Julie Miller, Director of Religious Education, but I'm part of a fabulous team along with Amanda Esco and Lissa Lander, and I just want to acknowledge their wonderful work too. The future we create is rooted in our past. E.Y. Harburg, who was a renowned 20th century songwriter who was known as the conscience of Broadway, said, "All the heroes of tomorrow are the heretics of today." As stewards of our faith, we teach our children our history, our heritage, that we're the church of open hands, of loving hearts, and open minds. And through mentoring, we engage our youth in helping them shape their faith formation. Our tradition of religious liberalism allows us the ability to engage, adapt, and respond to the circumstances of time and place. And the current political and social climate now causes us to lead our youth in standing firm for freedom and tolerance. We teach our children and our youth to resist hatred, challenge white supremacy, stand firm against injustice, serve our neighbors, that love connects us one to the other, search for truth and meaning, and to express their uniqueness. I didn't grow up in this church, but I do know a UU upbringing provides a moral compass to navigate the world and a belief that all religions, all people, have the potential for good within them. As one of our leaders, Connie Goodbread, says, faith development is all we do. Unitarian Universalism is the faith we teach. The congregation is the curriculum. During these times, though, we can't just maintain our wonderful RE programs. As good as they are, everybody's house needs some home improvements, some remodeling that allow us to thoughtfully grow and remain relevant. Roughly 88% of the adults come to Unitarian Universalism from other faith traditions or no tradition at all. While continuing to offer support to our adult friends and parents in their faith journey, I think we must consider how to create family faith development that resists isolating children and youth as they journey on their separate pathways. This is going to require a new process, not a new program, but a process to address the purpose and the possibilities of our future. A future that may require returning in very small steps to our roots of including children and youth in multi-generational church worship. As lay religious educators, we need to lead in ways that invite our entire congregation to participate in faith formation. Our remodeling may call for deeper commitments of family ministry, youth-led service, and ever stronger relationships between what we teach, what we learn in our religious community, and what we actually practice in our homes, in our schools, and our neighborhoods. It really is all about connections. And we need multi-generational connections. Just look around. We are an aging church. Our congregations are one of the last places in society where people of all ages can come together. The future we co-create is rooted in our heretical heritage. We are teaching our youth to stand on the shoulders of people who, against all mandates of their day, promoted counterculture. We must find new ways to help youth during their bridging years from adolescence to adulthood. Research is showing that linking youth to all church worship is one of the best ways to prepare high school youth to continue attending worship in their college years and beyond. Our religion is relatively small in size, but I think we cast some mighty long shadows. Children are not our future. They are the future. They live in the house of tomorrow, not us. Here's my question. Are we listening to them? Are we making space for them? Are we adapting to their future? Let us all renew our commitment to lead in ways that invite our entire congregation to get involved in family faith formation. Everyone belongs, everyone counts, beloved community.
Happy Celebration Sunday. Happy Celebration Sunday. Yeah, thank you. That's more like it. My name is Melanie Steiner-Sherwood. I'm a member of this church. I also sing in the choir, and my children are in religious education here. I'm also one of two co-chairs of the Pledge Committee. It is in that role that I welcome you to First Unitarian Church this morning. Celebration Sunday marks the beginning of the pledge drive. It's a time to celebrate this church. It's a time to celebrate liberal religion and to celebrate your generosity, which keeps the light of social justice burning so bright in our community. The pledge drive runs through Easter Sunday, and whatever financial support you pledge this month will determine the church budget for the next fiscal year. So please, make it count. We have an ambitious goal, but I think it's doable. Our goal is a 5% increase over last year's actual pledge revenue. Meeting this goal will allow the church to keep our fantastic second minister, invest into safety, grow the music department, which is more than just the choir, and provide the staff with a critical, long overdue 2% cost of living increase, which is not the same as a raise. If everyone not only renewed but increased their pledge by 5%, we'd be there. If last year you pledged to give $100 a month, make it $105, $106, or even $110 this year. If you've never pledged before, do so now. If you've lapsed, start afresh. Whether you're a member or a friend, pledging feels great. It has a huge impact, whatever the amount. Add not only your presence and passion to this church, but show your intent and your promise by making a financial commitment today. Pick up a pledge card in Elliott Hall right after service and make it count. As the ushers come forward to receive this morning's offering, please greet one another and share why you want to make it count.
Please be seated. Lily has asked me to express her apologies and regret that she's not going to be here for coffee to greet you and hug you and hear all those complimentary things that you would say about her. She had to, and very unexpectedly, had to jump on a plane. Guess where she's going? West Virginia. And she got a 1:20 flight. Going to arrive in Charleston, West Virginia at midnight and be at the Capitol at 8 in the morning because they need her love and power in West Virginia. Inspired by the service this morning and the words that we heard, we will go out into the world grasped by the power of love. We will go out into the world because simply we have had enough. We will go out into the world restoring fundamental human rights for the poorest of our citizens. We will go out into the world fighting for justice. We will go out into the world as good stewards of the creation. We'll go out into the world because we will not let our spirits despair. And we will go out into the world carrying our principles of peace and equality, justice and love, and we will make it count. No idle chatter here. We're going to go out into the world and really, really make it count.
I can make a difference every work that has to be done. I will give my whole commitment to the task that's at hand until I start to see that change has begun. I will go out in the world and I will say who I am. I will lift my voice strong and face the tide. There is one prevailing justice and it's mine to uphold. I will go out into the world. We will go out in the world and we will say who we are. We will lift our voices strong and face the tide. There is one prevailing justice and it's ours to uphold. We will go out into the world. We will go out into the world. Go out in the world and we will say who we are. We will lift our voices strong and face the tide. There is one will and justice and it's ours to uphold. We will go out into the world.
If you are here for the first time this morning, welcome to another typical Sunday worship service at First Unitarian. But if you're here for the first time, our Reverend Monica Dobbins will be happy to meet and greet you and welcome you right by the big screen in the social hall. The rest of you, let us break for coffee, conversation, fill out our pledge cards, and let's be generous and make it count. Thank you all.